Fiona Scott Morton, professora de la Yale School of Management, va impartir la lliçó inaugural de la Facultat de Ciències Econòmiques de la UPF del curs 2022-2023. La lliçó d'aquest any es titulava Reptes per a la política de competència en l'economia digital. La taula va ser presidida pel rector de la UPF, Oriol Amat, pel degà de la facultat, Walter García Fontes, i per la professora Rosa Ferrer. Morton va començar la conferència apuntant que l'actual context de desregularització té els seus orígens en l'escola de Chicago i va explicar les conseqüències d'aquesta situació.
Okay, so let's get started. For those of you who don't realize what has been happening in competition enforcement, particularly in the US, but a little bit in Europe also, has been sliding backwards for about 40 years since something called the Chicago School happened in the late 1970s. And that Chicago School movement said, we really shouldn't touch markets. The markets will be fine by themselves. The state shouldn't intervene. And we've had a series of antitrust cases, legal cases in the US that have moved the ability of courts, of the government to set rules of the road to make competition that have weakened that process. And I have some sites up here that will be familiar to some of you if you follow US law, but probably not most of you. What happens when you stop intervening to prevent monopolists from forming or merging to monopoly? Well, you get more market power. And what would be a sign of that market power would be statistics like the share of corporate profit in the national economy or markups rising. Okay, and we have researched some of it done in this institution on those kinds of issues. So we're starting to accumulate evidence that this lack of competition enforcement has real impact.
A continuació, la conferenciant va recordar que en l'economia digital la innovació és un factor clau, ja que al no ser de pagament les plataformes no poden competir amb els preus. Això sí, va recordar que els usuaris paguem amb la nostra atenció.
Innovation competition is a main source of competition. When you're choosing between social media applications, you don't think which one is cheapest because you're not paying for any of them. You're thinking you're not paying a monetary price for them. You're paying with your attention. So how do they get you to sign up? Well, they have to offer something differentiated and new and exciting. It's not because they are charging €9 instead of €10. So price is often not the reason why we get entry, and the reason we choose among products in the new economy is often not the monetary price, but something about either the quality, like the number of ads, or something about innovation.
Morton va exposar alguns dels factors per als quals és complicat que sorgeixi nova competència en aquesta economia i els motius pels quals creu que els governs haurien de donar suport als nous actors que emergeixin.
You can quickly see from that list of characteristics that competition is naturally weaker in these new economy markets. And why is that? Because we have this differentiation and network effects. And you can see it from the high markups. There's just not as much head-to-head competition in the way there would be when you go out to buy a car, okay, or when you go out to choose a coffee. More barriers to entry, harder to erode competitive barriers once they're built up. So you need competition enforcement to be stricter because these are naturally more concentrated markets to begin with. There's less head-to-head competition to begin with, and so you have to have the government authorities being a bit more vigorous.
Tot seguit, la conferenciant va exposar un cas en el que un jutge va emetre un veredicte a favor de Facebook basant-se en que la plataforma és gratuïta, una premissa que Morton va rebatre.
The judge only last year, in a case against Facebook, wrote about how he was not sure there could be an antitrust problem because Facebook was free. Okay, and this is, of course, it's hard to know where to start. I mean, Facebook makes lots and lots of money. It's not free. One side is paying, which is the advertisers, and then the rest of us are the product in the sense that we were. Well, you can think of it as the product, or I think it's actually easier to think about it as the workers. We are the workers for Facebook because what Facebook sells is ads, and they need workers to look at the ads. So we are the workers. We come to work. We look at the ads. We are paid for our work by finding some news about what our friends are doing or what somebody went on vacation to do. And then when we finish working, we leave the site, and that's a business model. And there's nothing free happening there.
Morton també va dissertar sobre el fet que l'App Store d'Apple i la Google Play Store formen un duopoli i com podria ser diferent.
Okay, how many people here either have an Android handset or an Apple handset? Raise your hand. Okay, how many people here have a handset that is not an Apple handset or an Android handset? Oh, good. Well, we just established market shares and market power, I think. So this is a duopoly. There are only two ways to get apps into to the eyeballs of consumers, and that is to be on the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. Well, for one thing, those app stores take a 30% fee from the app itself whenever it sells you something. So you could imagine price competition, that if there were an alternative app store, it might offer a 20% commission or 15 or 10. Then there's curation. Many people complain that the Google Play Store has a lot of garbage in it. Maybe somebody would launch a store that was like the Tasteful App Store, and it would only have nice apps in it. Or perhaps there would be, perhaps Disney would open an app store, and it would be content that is safe for people under the age of 12 app store. You can imagine all kinds of things like that.
La conferenciant també va explicar la quantitat de recursos que Google inverteix per a mantenir-se líder com a eina de recerca online.
Google also pays Apple about $10 to $12 billion every year to be the exclusive default search provider on all Apple handsets.
A mode de conclusió, Morton va apuntar que reforçar la competència beneficiaria els usuaris, com per exemple amb la recent Digital Markets Act, o DMA.
The DMA is really set up to be about the business users, but if we have lots of competition among business users and innovation and entry, that then gives us services in innovation. So it's helpful for consumers also. Okay, so let me wrap up and just say the role for economics here is huge. You have picked a very good subject at a very good time. And I just want to remind you that economics is not only used by monopolists to defend themselves, it's used by enforcers to try to defend people and consumers them. All right, thank you very much.
I al final, per descomptat, es va donar per inaugurat el curs acadèmic.
I declarem inaugurat l'any acadèmic. Bon dia a tothom.